Hi, so this is a Gauntlet game of Once More Into the Void, or more accurately known as Once More Into the Vortex. This is a reskin of the game by Jamie. There will be a link to her notes in the show notes. And yeah, this is a game organized through the Gauntlet. I have three lovely players who are going to join me in this game. We are playing with safety tools such as the X card, lines, and veils. And we have the open door policy available, so if anyone needs to go at any time, they are more than welcome to. And if I can do it in the order of people I can see on my screen, if you could each introduce yourself, and then we will choose our playbooks and go through the whole making of a crew and everything. Yeah, cool. So, Rob or Treb, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi. I'm Rob. I go by Treb online. I use he, him pronouns.
Cool. And Sabine?
Hi, I'm Sabine. I use any pronouns.
And Mario?
Hey, I'm Mario. I use he, him pronouns.
Awesome. Cool. And now we can stop performing for the hypothetical viewers and we can just start playing the game. Cool. Right. So, has everyone got access to the drive and the playing cards site? Yep. Cool. I can see one of the cursor floating around on my playing cards thing. Yep. Whoever it is. Oh, two of the cursors now. They're breeding. I'm going to assume that if everyone can see it, then everyone can see it. Yeah, we're all fine. So the way this game works is we keep track of our tokens in our crew on the tab, but each scene that we do, we have to turn over cards, and the cards will tell us like how many tokens we get at the end of the game. We can spend tokens to overcome the challenges of our last mission into the Vortex. But we have to choose our playbooks. Now, the captain, as referred to in the document, is now the doctor. And I did find and replace within the Google Sheet, but I couldn't do that within the PDF. So whenever it references the captain, we are referencing the doctor. But we also have a bunch of other playbooks. And I suppose the big question is, does anyone want to play the doctor? No? No? Rob, do you want to play the doctor? If you don't want to play the doctor, I will play the doctor. I will play the doctor then. It will be a fusion. So I see two ways of playing this game. Is either we choose existing Doctor Who characters and we just mash them together into the timey-wimey kind of like Crisis on Infinite Doctors style story that we can tell, because they all know the Doctor. And in some big Finnish audio drama, they've interacted with them at different points in time, and all the other companions that we might throw in there. Or we do the sort of like, this is the hypothetical, like the 13th or 14th Doctor or whatever, and we play like stereotypes or whatever, our own characters that we flesh out. And we'll probably be very close, at least if it was me. I would just be basically playing the Doctor Who characters with their names and stuff. What do you guys think?
I only know the modern kind of doctors, and they only each had one or two companions.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
You would just choose one of those companions, and we would come up with the Crisis on Infinite Doctors, where Amy and Rose both met with the 14th Doctor, who, came back in time to say, Rose, we got to save your kids. Where we're going, we don't need roads, and the whole timey-wimey nonsense. But I think. Should we go with fictional characters? Then we can make up our own companions.
I prefer that because I don't feel like I could do justice to the actual characters.
Okay, doing justice to it was never one of my concerns. I was confident I wouldn't and would aim low. But yes, okay, that sounds good to me. So I will be the Doctor. does anyone want to, we have different playbooks. I don't know if any of you had a chance to look at the thing. We have the veteran, the reformed, the believer, and the broken. The veteran's sort of like, the old war dog kind of who's been through lots of stuff. The reformed is a member of the other side that turned to join the Doctor in, the better way of doing things. The believer is the Wesley Crusher, basically, the naive hope of things being right. I mean, to be honest, in Doctor Who, every companion's kind of the believer because the Doctor's the believer as well, But it just means that this is the believer, the believer is the one. And then there's the broken. There are not many broken characters in Doctor Who, to be fair, which is how it.
Well, they have been at some point.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. They usually, if they're broken, they get fixed by the end of the episode, which can be what takes place in our episode. So I did I did make a small notes document that's also in the drive, where I just rewrote the introductory thing just to make it about the Doctor and get me in the headspace. But I did make some examples of the kind of Doctor Who characters that might be underneath each playbook. So like the veteran could be the Brigadier from Unit, or it could be like even Donna or Sarah Jane. I imagine it more as that sort of like more experienced, kind of like familiar with the Doctor, has been traveling with him for ages and has lost some of that rose-tinted shine kind of thing. The one who's arguing with him all the time, basically, I suppose. And the reformed would be, the obvious one to me is like Missy from the Peter Capaldi series, where it was the Master but good by the end of it, the female version of the Master. But it could also be like a reprogrammed Cyberman, or a friendly Dalek, or I don't know, an Auton that's got a job as a catwalk model, or whatever, right? Whatever your Doctor Who thing is. The believer, like I say, is pretty much all of them: Rose, Amy Pond, Susan, Yaz. The broken, the ones I could think was the broken in particular would be like Jack Harkness, because he's kind of like that. He's not the broken in terms of like his outlook, right? Because he's sunshiny optimism and blah blah blah. But he's also like the hardest bitten character in the Doctor Who companions kind of thing, because he's a time traveling mercenary to begin with. And then Driver Song, and then the Strange is all of the alien characters or robot characters like K9, Romana, not a character I ever knew. Apparently, Doctor Who once traveled around with a shape-changing robot, which I didn't know. And obviously, K9 is probably the most famous of all of them, the strange ones. But yeah, so
sorry.
Any of those leap out for anyone?
Is there a playbook called The Strange? Because if there is, I can't see it.
Yes, it's NZAA, AP, under Our Crew. Is it not in there? Is it called something else?
No.
You mean
Oh,
the
yes,
playbook,
I see it
or-
now.
where is it?
I'm sorry. I see it now. I was
No worries.
incapable of scrolling.
So I will be the Doctor. Obviously, when it comes to the choosing aspects of your look, we can all just insert our own Doctor Who thematically appropriate, right? Because I don't see Doctor Who wearing a military uniform at any point in any of his incarnations.
Maybe the War Doctor, but he
I
was
think
not
even
in
any. Yeah, John Hurt Doctor. I really need to watch that one. I started it and I was like, "Ooh, interesting," and then I was just like, "Oh man, it's like 4 or 5 parts." I'll come back to it one day.
So I wouldn't mind being the veteran, or maybe the broken. But I would prefer the veteran, actually. If anybody mind. If nobody minds, I'll grab that one. Okay, cool.
Cool.
I'd like to play either the reformed or the broken. So depends on role.
I was probably either going to play the broken or the believer.
Okay, so I just go with the reformed then, and you can choose whatever you want.
Okay.
There is a page for each of them within the PDF. You choose 2 qualities, a name. I have the easy part of the name. Mine's the only reference it'll ever have to me is the doctor. And my look has got to be a it strikes me now how hard it must be for the people who make Doctor Who to be like, right, how do we make this Doctor slightly wacky in their own way?
So tonally, the reformed would be pretty much Clara Oswald when she broke up with Rory to go on adventures with Doctor, something like that.
Something like that. I think, yeah, I mean, I imagine, so the reformed is kind of like someone who actively worked on the wrong side at one point, you know?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I think when Clara gets turned into a Cyberman briefly, and she takes, there's the cliche of the Cyberman regaining their humanity, and I think they've used that like 7 times in the last 4 or 5 years. But it could be, what any Doctor Who thing that exists, feel free to do whatever you like with it. Canon be damned. I don't know the canon. I don't know any of it. And it doesn't matter anyways because it's Doctor Who. And it's literally about a guy who has a time machine.
So I'm thinking for my veteran of somebody who's a little like Donna, because I love Donna and I thought the ending she was given was such bullshit. I'm sorry. I'm so salty about that.
You're not the only person. I don't remember the ending for Donna, I'm afraid.
Yeah, neither should not she. So yeah, I think somebody who's like that, like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing here, but I'm doing it anyway, and I'm going to push for what's right. And if you're not doing what's right, you're doing it wrong. And I think
Nice.
I'm going to be pushy.
Okay.
So.
Sounds good.
I'm thinking somebody tonally the same as like the episode where you see Amy, like a future version of Amy who was abandoned by the Doctor.
Yes, I remember that one. Yeah.
And it's just kind of like has lost all the belief in that she had in him and is just kind of bitter about the whole thing.
Nice. Trying to think of a type of jacket that the Doctor would wear. You know what? Let's just go with this Doctor wears a big hoodie. There we go. Stylish hoodie, of course. It would have to be a stylish, colourful hoodie. So, when everyone's chosen 2 qualities for their thing, the person to your left defines, and I'll hide playbooks we're not using quickly. You're playing the broken, right, Rob?
Yep.
Yep. Yeah. It's the last one. That was strange. There you go. Then the person to, once we've all chosen 2 qualities and 2 aspects of our look, the person, we can go around and the really good thing about Doctor Who is that each one of us can be from different times. Like, someone can be a, like in the examples as I was quickly going through the Doctor Who companions, someone can be a 16th century Scottish Highlander, and another person can be a colonist from a far-flung, futuristic genetic offshoot of humanity. Cool. So, if we do the qualities, I went with, I guess, charismatic and fiery for the Doctor. Like, bundles of energy, kind of like passionate about stuff. That seems to be the sort of common theme between all of them. But what is my third quality? And it's the player to my left. What is my third quality, Rob?
Third quality. She weary. Kind. Oh no, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one, but it's kind, yeah. Because the Doctor should always be kind.
Yes. Yeah. Probably the little clip of Peter Capaldi's speech about that popped up a lot when I was looking at Doctor Who. And I was like, I guess some parts of his thing will live on, even if the rest of it won't. Cool. And then my look, I've gone for a bandana scarf, a stylishly colourful hoodie for this Doctor. But Sabine, what would you say is the third costume or look quirk of this particular Doctor?
I think he has a walking stick.
Yes, nice, a walking stick. That he often just carries in his hand as he runs in Doctor Who style down corridors and things. And then it is
It's
yoga.
not. Oh, okay. I just wanted to clarify that this walking stick is not meant to hit people with, just to stop it on the ground.
Of course, yes. It will occasionally be used to block things dramatically in shots and to trip people comically,
exactly.
to trip people up comically, perhaps. Yeah. And every now and again, he will slide it in between door handles to stop people from running after you. But, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, maybe sonic walking stick. That could be that could be the marketing trick for this Doctor.
Sonic walking.
And our veteran.
Why did that have to be Sonic? Yeah. So I think my qualities that I have now are pushy and also weary, because it's been a long time. Mario, what's the third one? I'm just asking the person to my somewhere left.
It's the person on your left. So I was just going to do that in character keeper sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I'd be the one on your left.
Oh, okay. I get it. Left and right. That is not my forte. So yeah. So well, what is the third one then?
Well, no, I have to think like that. I think it is. You've got pushy and you've got weary, but I think that you are insightful as well.
Oh, cool. I'll take that one.
Like pushy, weary, and wise kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen a lot. And to my look, a limp that's part of me now, and a cybernetic eye. And what else, Mario? What do you think?
Yeah, it's a bit of a tough one.
Yeah, I can tell you that I'm thinking of a Scottish Highland girl here. like the idea.
So you're going to be a Scottish Highlander, sort of that kind of. So you'll be like introduced in a historic episode
Yeah.
of Doctor Who, like set in the past. Nice.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, but I still have a cybernetic eye.
Of
The
course.
Scottish people of
Yeah.
my time, they can't recognize that, but I do.
That was clearly the plot of the episode that you were recruited in. Like, why? How did this archaeological dig find a robo arm in the Scottish Highlands?
Yeah. Yeah,
Ah.
exactly.
Well, I'm not sure. I just want to check in with you if that's okay. But from the list, I think the most interesting choice would be a mark of your stay in prison.
Ooh, neat. Yes. Okay.
Nice.
I'll think of that.
Yeah. Other you can, as I did, change the qualities or the things to be Doctor Who rather than Mass Effect in time. You know, like if Sabine didn't want to have a cybernetic eye, obviously she could have replaced that with something else. But my feeling is that Sabine probably really wanted to have a cybernetic eye as well as be a Scottish Highlander. Yes.
Absolutely. Cool. I think that's why are they
cool. So then it is Mario. You ask Sabine what the qualities of your capable, guilty, reformed are. What's the third quality?
Yeah.
Let me see. The reformed, capable. I'm sorry, I have to look at this. An old photo. Mm-hmm. So I think you're also. I like yearning for you. I don't know what you're yearning for, but you are yearning for something.
Okay. Yeah.
Nice.
Bringing the tragic.
And then I guess it's Rob for his look.
Yeah. Implants. A weapon that doesn't work as intended.
Ooh.
That's really good in combination with the cybernetic implants.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's the same. Not sure yet.
And then I guess it's Sky now.
Qualities I've chosen for Sky the Broken are bitter and sarcastic. And the look I've chosen, I want you to make sure that we had like a race from the show, so I've gone with Catkind.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
And she has a laser glare and a weapon always at the ready. So it's to my left would be Mario.
Mm-hmm.
So choose another quality for Sky, please.
Well, the most obvious one would be otherworldly, but I think I would be most interested in having you added gifted, if that's okay for you.
Okay. And Will.
I think the soft chime of bells, and because this is Doctor Who, it's clearly a cat bell. No, that's terrible. It's like some, you know what I mean? Like the kind of in the episode that you introduced, it was like, oh, the calling of the bells throughout whatever kind of thing, and there was some ornate kind of maybe more like kind of monastic sort of style, like like trinkets and bangles and things like that kind of stuff. But the design team clearly incorporated a cat bell in there somewhere as a.
Of course they did.
Yeah. Listen, if it's not slightly naff, I don't think we're doing justice to the.
Yeah.
Cool. And so one thing it's not in it's not really in like the sort of the character creation type steps, but given what we've talked, should we just have a quick sort of like introduction of how we each sort of see our characters at the moment, kind of thing, like that sort of like where they the 2 or 3 sentence summary, and we can chuck those down in the notes, and then we can go into the recruitment, the actual game kind of thing. So this is the latest incarnation of the Doctor for this series, and he is probably going to be pitched somewhere as a mishmash of David Tennant, Christopher Eccleston, probably Peter Capaldi, and probably Jodie. Probably the closest one will probably be Jodie Whittaker, but I can't do, like I say, I can't do justice to Jodie Whittaker, so it will be this one instead. But we're gonna try and be like fairly like earnest and like demanding and expecting, but also like happy kind of stuff. The Doctor's a Doctor, probably the least interesting character actually in Doctor Who in terms of personality wise. So, the veteran, time for the actual people, the companions.
Yeah, I'm going to play Rosie McLeod. She is, as we've said, a girl from, I don't know, 16th century Highlands, where she came into contact with the Doctor because they were fighting an invasion by, believe it or not, the Cybermen. And that led to a couple of other shenanigans on other dimensions and planets, where she briefly ended up being in jail and realized that, hey, people are shit everywhere and somebody should do something about it. And then I think she got in the fight with the Doctor because he was mostly like, yeah, we don't interfere that much, we just nudge. And she was like, no, we should stay the revolution. And that led to them parting ways. She got stuck in the Highlands, where she still attempted to find. She still tries to foment revolution and acts against the British guys, and also still hunts the remaining Cybermen. There are still some out there, and the British are using them. She's still fighting them. But of course, It's been a long time, but she's still doing it. She's got the cyber eye so she can recognize them.
So returned, left the TARDIS. I imagine this was like one of those kind of like the Doctor. I've done everything. We've done what we can here. It's up to this. It's that history take its turn. You're like, I can't go off when I need to fight for my people, kind of thing. You should stay as well. And then like dramatic sort of like turning your back on the TARDIS in the Highlands as the wind blows.
Yeah.
Nice.
I like that.
Cool. To return to your own battle and to hunt down the last of the Cyber British. The Cyber English, sorry, I should say, because there was not British at the time. Okay. That's cool. Marcus Blossom, what kind of fiend were you before you turned to the good fight?
Yeah, it's a bit on a I'm not really good with remembering all the Doctor Who themes, so I thought maybe I'm a contact person or have been a contact person of the what were the ones, the silent ones, the silence something,
the silence.
ones you always forget.
Yes, the silence, yeah.
So I've been one of their middlemen, so to speak, and then I accidentally came across with the doctor, and since then I've been troubled by like which path to follow, or even to follow a totally different path and forget about this whole war of the worlds kind of thing going on.
Okay, so you're like that full-on kind of sin the error. Like I've been doing what you've asked of me for so long. I do everything, but this is too much. And then you turn to the doctor, and then we have a whole episode where you're running around with Rosie and the doctor and thingy and fighting the silence, and you may be left to. We can answer what you. I think we'll go into why. I love how Rosie's already gave us a reason to why we split up, kind of thing. Because I really struggled with that when I played this for the first time. You don't actually define it, so we just ended up skirting around it for the entire game, and it always left me in this sort of like slightly. So what was actually our problem with each other, kind of thing, But cool. What is Marcus Blossom? Is he from the modern day, the 20th century Earth? Is he from?
No, he's if he's he might be from planet Earth because of the silence. But he got cybernetics and stuff, so he's, I don't know, maybe from the 32nd century or something like that. So he's from the future, from our perspective.
Cool, I like that. I mean, yeah, there's no reason that obviously, whenever you beat a Doctor Who bad guy, it comes back again at a different point in time and space. So yes, from 32nd century Earth, I like that. Which is also when the Legion of Superheroes were around. So, cool. The Broken. What is Sky?
So I think Sky was part of a sort of warrior order that basically was they started out as like champions of justice sort of thing, and then they got taken over by the Master and used for his dirty work. And when she met the Doctor, she discovered that her order wasn't what she thought it was, and helped take them down, or at least free them from the Master's control. Traveled with the Doctor for a while, and I think lost control maybe one time during a fight, and or killed. They broke the Doctor's number one rule, not to kill somebody with a weapon.
Yeah, I do like how there's a sliding scale of how much like Batman the Doctor is, isn't there? Depending on which series and writer is involved. But yeah,
it's like, and she, it was just one time, but like he did the whole Christopher Eccleston thing of like, right, I'm leaving you behind now.
Yes, cool. One thing that occurs to me: do you think I should be the Doctor that you all knew, or should I be the new regeneration of a Doctor that you've never met before? And we all traveled with the previous one.
I like the idea of it being a new one.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
I would throw in that maybe you're the one that of the regeneration from the 32nd century, and then we both came back.
And the Doctor in the 32nd century is the same Doctor as in the establishing a timeline for the Doctor is impossible. Kind of, your tiny mortals' lifespans are on the Doctor's timeline, not the other way around.
The Doctor's timeline is a squiggly line.
Yes, yeah. Because it is actually the only timeline that exists in the whole of Doctor Who is the linear path of each episode to the next episode, and everything else is just he's stepping on himself by the end of the year. He has to keep going back to the 20th century. In any case, yeah, I wanted you all to be. I wanted the crew to be familiar with each other, though. You know, the companions, because a lot of the stuff is about the companions' shared history as well as your shared history with the thing. So, certainly, everyone's been to the 32nd century where we recruited Marcus at one point, but Rosie went her separate way at one point, you know, in Bad Blood, and then I think it's either shortly after that or in the same sort of, you know, two-parter episode. The Doctor went through another regeneration and ended up leaving you guys behind at some point as well, you know. In the usual Doctor Who sort of, I have a time machine that can go through time and space, and yet I never thought to go back and check on my previous companions until plot demanded it, sort of style. I've been busy, you know, maybe the TARDIS, the last that Marcus and Skye saw of the Doctor was the sort of like, no, so Skye went away, you broke the code, you know, the last thing was that bad blood between us, and then Marcus, it was like, you've got to go as well, Marcus. You know, I'm the only one who can go now. And then now stepping back into your lives. Does that sound good with everyone? Everyone on board with that? Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
It was when we were playing this, I was like, you know, you can make Doctor Who fit anything because it's just absolutely inconsistent from one bit to the next. Cool. So that is all of our characters established. We now go on the recruitment session. And you know what? Let's just start in whole thing. Recruiting the veteran. Our old hideout. And I would say that these scenes don't necessarily have to be like when we've first seen each other. It's just a dramatic sort of, you know what I mean, like the dramatic moment. Like if Rosie's in the Highlands, there's no reason that, you know, the cut scene wasn't Rosie running away from a squad of British soldiers, jumping over a cliff, and then disappearing, and then it cuts to wherever our old hideout is in across all the time and space, you know? So, where do you think our old hideout would be, Sabine?
Wouldn't that be the TARDIS?
It could definitely be the TARDIS, yeah. I mean, yeah, I think in terms of hideout, it could just be any place where we spent, you know.
Oh
like,
yeah, maybe we had an old camp like where Scottish. I admit a total lack of knowledge of Scottish history. Besides that, there was Braveheart once, but that was a while ago. But I've skimmed the Outlander series, but I couldn't stand it. So I'd say there maybe was some sort of hollow that was associated with fairy kind for some reason, and the British wouldn't go, the English wouldn't go there because they were superstitious, and that's what we used to, store weapons and stuff like that. And that's where I first met the Doctor, because the Cybermen, they weren't all that superstitious about fairies.
Yes, nice. And clearly that's where the TARDIS first materialized, was in this fairy cave.
Yeah.
Yes. Nice. And that, is where the legend of the fairies comes from, perhaps, because the Doctor always teleports the TARDIS into this nice secluded cave. It's dead private. No one will ever see it. We'll never have it. Who the bloody hell are you? What are you doing in my cave? Like, yes. Cool. I like that. So our old hideout was which I think was maybe Rosie's perhaps like base of operations going forwards, kind of, maybe, or like a place where you've come to hide out from the British chasing you, sort of thing, from time to time since?
I think it's a graveyard now, actually.
Oh yeah.
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 That's hard. And I don't think you've known that, the doctor, but Rosie has turned that old hideout because at one point it was overrun. So she turned it later into a graveyard for the brave souls who fell to injustice.
Oh, nice. That's very poetic. The place where we first met is now a graveyard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. So that sounds good to me. So I ask you, how does your age and the past show?
I mean, I have obviously grown older. I look older. I have gray hair now. I'm walking with this limp. Well, yeah, time passes, you know.
And I suppose, why do you look so different from what I remember?
Because I've been fighting for 20 years without any help from somebody who could have helped.
Yeah, but it's not up to me to fight humanity's battles for it. You know, I can only protect you from what's out there, not from what's in. You're the only one who can do that, kind of blah. That was all the arguments. Nice.
Yeah, that's what you said before. I remember.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And now you ask me 2 questions as well.
Oh, why do you look so much? I think different is a better word, right? Than I remember. Why do you look so different from what I remember?
Because I am a completely different person than the female who you knew fought alongside back then. Now I'm back in a man's body. But the thing that still shines through is we have the same eyes.
Yeah, the same lines, I guess.
Yeah. Repeat exactly this, and as you walk into, you know, like, who the bloody hell are you, and what have you been doing in my cave, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's exactly the same phrase. Who are you, and what are you doing in this cave? And get out before I whoop your ass.
So I choose what happens first, then you choose what happens then. And then you choose an event, and I choose the next consequence. So I will choose what happens first. One of us can't help it. An angry demand breaks through the tension. The second from the bottom.
Okay, so that's what you choose, and now I go to choose the second sentence, right?
Yes.
I think angry demand breaks through the tension, and I think we stop and stare, unable to breach the distance between us.
I think we kind of already role-played that with the with the whole, like, you left me and thingy to that. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay.
And then you choose what happens next, and I choose what happens after that.
Okay. Oh yeah, I like the something beautiful and broken catches our eye, demanding attention. I think it's a grave, one of the graves there. There isn't like a statue on it of some lady we rescued in the first mission together before I even knew what Cybermen were.
Nice. Yeah. You then joined Rosie's rebellion and fought in it, maybe. One of us reveals we have the other part to make it whole and new again, I think.
Oh, okay.
And I think, it's a gravestone that's crumbled away. You know, like you had the monument to it, and you set about to it, and I think I lift up my walking stick, and withdraw the sonic screwdriver out from it, and mend it, and say, you know, you keep I suppose it's sort of peaceful in here now, even after all the battles.
Yes, the peace of the grave. that's the piece you're yearning for.
Yes, well, that was. The doctor's like, well, can't even. Whatever I said, I was about to say, well, it comes to us all in the end, and I was like, wait, no, it doesn't come to the doctor categorically. Like, well, every battle has to end sometime, Rosie.
Yeah, but the battle, the death that would end my battle is my own, or that of all the Cybermen in England, and we're nowhere near that.
I think you may be closer than you think. And then I think, we have that sparring over the old wounds of the past.
Yeah.
And then I ask you, what makes you still doubt me?
Because you are too far removed from the ground.
Yes,
from the worries of those who live a life from birth to death, and then that was it.
That definitely sounds fair, to be honest. I do like the idea of the Doctor. I've always liked the idea of the Doctor as actually a terrifying Lovecraftian monster rather than a hero. But yeah. And you ask me.
What makes you worry for me?
That you'll always find another battle. Even when you win this one, you'll carry on fighting, and it's part of what I love about you. But a lifetime of fighting leads to wounds, and some of them don't heal.
Well, fair.
Yeah, I remember when I showed a Scottish girl the, attack ships on fire off horizon, the tan sea beams glittering in the Tannhauser Gate, etc., etc. And hopefully I can show you those sights once more. But anyways, I'm rambling a bit. So, we draw a card.
You draw a card.
I draw a card, yes, that's right. So one small change that I've made to the rules as written down is if I draw a royal, it will be you that chooses the complication. Because I did this with David, and in David's game, I drew a royal as I played the captain, and I drew a royal every single time. And so by the end of the recruitment phase, I'd had to come up with like 10 complications or whatever, and I was just like, too much. I was getting very out of ideas at the end of it. So anyways, I'll draw the card, and I got an ace. So exactly what happened. Oh no, wait. Perfect. Reveal a painful truth about your shared past, or reveal a dark mystery that could spell our doom. And again, I think I would like that to go to you if you would like. I think maybe the idea is I'll offer it to you guys as the first dibs, and then if you don't want to take it, then I will come up with something.
I think I like the reveal a dark mystery that could spell our doom. Well, okay. I like that because I will tell you that there have been others who have asked about the Doctor across all of Scotland.
Ooh.
There have been voices from echoing through abandoned castles where they say haunts were, and they always, when I was there, somebody would ask, "Where's the Doctor?"
Whispering echoes ask for the Doctor across the abandoned places of Scotland.
Well, that's where I heard them anyways.
Yes, of course, yes. Perfect. Nice. We get one token for that. We get you get to choose where that token goes to. You get to either take it or I get to you give it to me.
I want to have a token. I'm sorry.
That's fine. Don't worry about it. There'll be opportunities later on to game more or less. Cool. And Rosie joins the crew.
Yeah.
And then, just to check in with you guys, I'm thinking we do these recruitment scenes and then we take a break. Does that sound good to everyone? Yeah. So, Mario, we recruit the Reformed while they are being hunted, essentially.
Yeah.
So you are on the run from something. And again, it can be one of the things I thought is that, like, the events that take place within this scene don't have to necessarily be even within the same place. There's no reason that we can't have a hunt that chases us across time and space or whatever. All I'm really trying to say is that, like, if you, however wild you want to go with it, it's Doctor Who. Feel free, kind of thing.
Yeah. So
Although
just
let's not do any things where we do timey-wimey stuff where we then go back in time. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. My idea was because all of the cybernetics and something, I just would want to be somewhere in an alternative 80s, like some cyberpunkish 80s where the silence actually took over and run all the megacorps, but nobody knows who's actually running them. It's just this gigantic, powerful corporations that basically have everything in their pockets. But I'm one of the mercenaries fighting them, and that's because you, the Doctor, taught me how to fight in the first place.
You're a Shadowrunner.
Yeah, now
Nice.
I'm a Shadowrunner.
Nice. You're a Shadowrunner on the future corporate Planet 5-9 kind of thing. Like, yes, love it. Okay, this is great. We've got a Shadowrunner.
And right now I just tried to hunt down one of the officers of the Silence, but they actually knew that I've been coming, and now I've been the hunted.
Nice. So I think that's answered the two questions I have to ask, which is who are you running away from? The corporate enforcers who've laid a trap for you, and I think how do I help you find reprieve? Is how do I, where does the Doctor swoop in this this scene of being hunted?
Well, mostly because if you're not helping me to get away with my life, there is no me to help you on the mission.
Oh no, not why. Sorry, like how? What do you think? Is it like is it the TARDIS suddenly appearing in a thing, or like?
Well, this is okay. So then it's like your supersonic walking stick, like messing with all the cybernetics and the silence is controlling now.
Oh, nice.
And therefore they just can't keep up with us.
Nice. I think like, you're running down a corridor and you see the Doctor, like the new Doctor, and his hand just links up with yours and then taps the cane on the floor twice, and suddenly all the cameras just blink off and all of the things turn to red. Like, nice. So you have two questions to ask me?
Yeah. How have my years of running haunted me? And the other one is, how am I still beautiful?
I think that while you were, when I recruited you and during your whole time on the TARDIS, you were like, you wore a suit, like pressed, like you were very, very exec corporate style, like perfect. You were like the Silence minus the big alien head, right? You were absolutely crisp and fine cut hair and everything. But now you are like full on cyberpunk style, kind of like,
yes.
Full on like tactical vests and things like that, and street style kind of stuff. But the one thing that hasn't changed is you've still got like absolutely perfectly cut, combed over hair, like model style kind of thing. Like still look like a space yuppie wearing fancy cosplay kind of stuff.
That sounds wonderful.
Cool. I choose what happens first. Well, I have to do this one. We must pretend we are something we are not to throw them off the trail.
Ooh, yeah. Well, it's not good if we are still visible as Shadowrunners, right?
Also, of course, just again, this is Doctor Who, so we have whatever gadget that we think is possible in existence, and it can do anything along the lines of telepathic paper or whatever it is that he has. I forget the exact name in his wallet. So what do you think happened? So it's the second from the second one up from the Reformed. On Recruited, page 25. It would be 13 if you're looking at a double spread.
Yeah, and it's this
second from the bottom. We must pretend we are something we are not. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Now I see it. Thank you. Well, the guns blazing wouldn't fit, at least not the Doctor style.
Yeah, I think that we can rephrase guns blazing as like just not lack of subtlety. You know, I think where it refers to like killing or whatever, like we will always reframe it in a Doctor Who style, perhaps. You know, so like that would be kind of the more like Blues Brothers style getaway rather than the quiet getaway, like.
I would have this a more lighthearted take, and I would choose the "and we steal uniforms from the local authorities" comedy ensues, because this is now we're just running down the hallway, and from God knows where there's all these pans, and then we're changing while running, and all of a sudden we look like in the old times when I still was one of the corp management guys.
Yes.
And I'm back to normal, and then. After we changed, we just stop running and start walking like normal people, and all of a sudden there's a door, and then we open the door and we inside.
Yeah, we clearly walk through a whole huddle of like guys chasing you. We're just like, don't you know who I am? Like, get out of the way. I've got a top meeting to go to, kind of thing. Time waits for no man. Money, blah 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 blah. We need to synergize our energies and get in here post haste, kind of stuff.
Yeah, nice. that sounds real Doctor-like.
And then we close the door behind us, and I say, God, what a load of mouthful, you know? How can you say all that nonsense without your tongue falling out? Cool. And then we ask, I ask you, what will make you betray me? And I don't think that's necessary, again, in terms of, like what would make you like not do what I want, or you know what I mean, like seek your own interests or whatever.
Well, the thing is, from my perspective, we need to engage in a proactive war against the silence and everybody else threatening Earth, and your more peaceful and more pacifistic approach towards it. It's just not getting into my head. I just can't comprehend how that would even work out after all the centuries I've already seen while traveling with you. Like nothing really changed. Earth always was under siege. And so that's something. If you go too pacifistic, you might lose me as a companion.
Yes, I like it. Want us to finally beat the enemy rather than find peace, let's say. I am writing down some of these notes in the Word documents, the Google Doc,
cool.
So that we can remember them all next week when we finish this off. Cool. Do you have a question for me?
Yeah. Yes. What makes you trust me anyway?
That you've always done what you thought was right, even when it was that was the only reason you ever did the wrong thing. I trust you.
So I've got some sort of morals.
Yes. Yeah. And I draw a card. It's a 6. Nice. So we take 2 tokens.
2 tokens, yeah.
And you decide how to split them. You decide. You can take both of them.
Yeah. No. I think we did a good job, and you helped me getting away. So we have to share that.
Yeah. Thank you. The tokens, you can use them at the end. You can use them throughout the game to do like different stuff, but at the very end, it will help you like succeed at the mission and to survive as well. If you don't have many tokens, then you'll inevitably like lose people as you go. But you can still succeed because you can just choose to like die and succeed or something, basically. So nice. That brings us to Sky, the Broken, which is page 28. Where do I recruit Sky from, do you think?
So Sky is in a sort of futuristic arena match. It's a sort of raised platform with like lights on it, and it's basically a elimination sort of game because it's Doctor Who and we don't want to show too much like violence. So it's more like they get thrown out and they're defeated rather than they get beat bloody. So that's where we find Sky.
Nice. I love that. So, what about your current state shocks me? What behavior of yours disgusts or saddens me?
So, Sky puts up a good fight. I'm going to answer both questions here. So she puts up a good fight, and then suddenly she's starting to lose energy or something, and her feet are scraping towards the edge, and the doctor is sharp, so the doctor catches a look to someone in the audience who is like an official of some sort who is giving her a shake of the head. Like she is basically being told to lose, and she seems to be going along with it.
Yeah, I like that. You're throwing fights, nice. And you have 2 questions to ask me as well?
Yeah. What evidence of our time together do I try to hide from you?
You have you have a brooch from the 16th century from a certain Scottish clan, the MacLeods, where you fought in a proper Highlands duel and won the respect of in that episode where we recruited Rosie back when, kind of thing.
And what weakness of mine do you exploit?
Your pride in your skills. I will shame you into, you're throwing these. You should be, just because, you were made into a weapon, doesn't mean that you have to break yourself, kind of stuff. You can still do more than this arena. There's violence.
So can I ask, how is the doctor putting that across, in the middle of the fight? Just
I think it has to be the scene has to be where you're in the arena and you're getting told to throw the fight, right? And it's then it's like, oh, and then there's a tag it's suddenly it changes into it's got to be 2-on-2 kind of action. And then while your backup is supposed to be entering the ring, the TARDIS suddenly appears in the middle of the arena. And the doctor strides out and it's like, oh, the rules are the rules. There are 2 combatants in the ring. You can't, so it's the newcomer and Sky versus whatever. And you're trying to throw the fight and the doctor's parrying it with his walking stick. And tripping them over as they charge at him and things like that, and just going like, "Come on, Sky, you can do better than this." Yes. So then, you know what? I'm going to say that the one that's sort of, I think that we do that fight, and the scene afterwards is of the thugs of a dangerous loan shark coming by and threatening us, which I think is the people who wanted you to throw the match come over and threaten us, you know, while we're discussing things. So what follows from there?
I think things get violent, forcing the both of us to work together like old times.
Nice. Yeah, we have a full-on, you know, someone pulls a gun and you slash it out with a sword, and then the doctor like does Jackie Chan style, like falling over things and you know, like just like making it a mess. Pulling out a sonic screwdriver and closing a shutter just as reinforcements come. You know, the portcullis gate that they've got for some reason in this futuristic arena suddenly slams shut as the other fighters come pouring into the changing rooms to try and do it. Nice. And then you choose one?
One of us reveals a scar or injury that the other didn't know about. I think that's probably me. Like maybe there's a scar from an injury from the fight that I had all those years ago, where I had to kill the other guy.
Yeah. One thing that occurred to me is perhaps I have an injury that's never healed, even despite regenerations from Sky herself. Perhaps, like
sure,
when the Master sent them at me.
Yeah, that works better. Actually, I like that.
Yeah, because I'm like, you know what, there's no fanboys to be like, actually, the Doctor can regenerate totally. It's regenerations that goes against what was written in the 5th book of blah blah blah. I used to work with a full-on like Whovian who could recite everything off the top of his head. It was incredible. Anyways, I think we both sit in the quiet for a moment before finally facing the past. And I think it comes as you know, after we've done that fight kind of thing, we are getting changed, like out of the sort of arena clothes the Doctor somehow found themselves in between, like cuts of the previous scenes, and it is a, you know, like a long, jagged line across the back where Sky's dagger's buried in the past, kind of thing. Like, you know. You came closer than anyone ever did, Sky. But you shouldn't be ashamed of it, you know. The Master turns all weapons to their dangerous uses.
Yeah, he's the only one that uses weapons. Yeah, only bad guys use weapons, right?
Only bad guys want to use the weapons, Sky. Everybody else tries to find a better way. And I know we can find it together. Rosie and Marcus, looking forward to seeing you again too.
Bringing the gang back together?
For one last job, Sky. Certainly the Doctor thinks that you ask. Rosie, yes. She doesn't mean it. She's just, you know, just grumpy, like my gran. Or if I had a gran. And yeah, I think we then ask, what do you still love about the Doctor?
I still love the Doctor. I think she still loves his heart is in the right place.
Both of them.
Yeah, his heart's yeah.
Nice.
And what faded hope do you see in me?
The hope that weapons can be put down at some point. You know, that you went on to throw fights rather than to, you know, like some part of you doesn't want, like, this is what you're good at and this is your past and all of those things, but you are, you know, at the end of the day, capable of doing more than just fight. And that's what we have always wanted for you, kind of thing. So the faded hope that, you know, eventually it can stop. Yeah, I'm realizing that I have. This is the Doctor with 3 rebels, warriors, and revolutionaries. Nice. And I draw a card. And we get a 7, so we take 2 tokens, and you get to choose a distribution of that. Rob.
I think we get 1 each.
Okay.
Are we noting this down somewhere?
So it's on the character keeper. Next to your name, there is the number. That's the number of tokens you have. Then we are done with the recruitment section, with way less complications than I did last time. Cool. Let's take a break. How long do you guys want? 5, 10? What do you say?
Let's go to half the hour.
Half past? Cool. Okay. See everyone here back at past.
See you.
Yeah, you're right, Mario. It's definitely the leg.
Sorry.
The wound was in. The wound was definitely in the leg. That's why I got the stick. That's a good idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just to prepare for the session, I just rewatched the saddest moments of Doctor Who, a YouTube compilation, and I was incredibly sad. And that confession dial episodes, they get me every time. That's so over the top.
To be honest, the thing that always gets me is most in the Doctor Who is just like watching the old intros with all the sort of like synth made in the 1960s and like special effects made by turning the camera's lens in on itself, so it's just in a feedback loop. And like there's something I miss about that sort of the stuff that was made before I was born, with the modern day like CGI and orchestra strings and things like that. Which I get why they don't do the old one.
Unfortunately, I only know the last 3 Doctors.
Oh yeah.
So.
I mean, I'll be honest. Actual episode-wise, I only really know the modern Doctors. I can barely remember the stuff I watched as a kid. It's just that it has that kind of nostalgic appeal, the kid stuff.
I only found out about Doctor Who like 2 or 3 years ago, and then I binged whole seasons within a couple of weeks. Was really into it.
I'm glad it's found a big audience. Americans love it.
The thing is, it's so hard to watch it in Germany because there is not really anything you can watch it on unless you buy the whole DVD boxes and shit. It's been on Netflix, but only, I don't know, maybe for a couple of months.
Yeah. I used to work in the same company, the same part of the BBC that did the the licensing and stuff, commercials, like how selling it and where you could distribute it and stuff like that. Anyway, so checking with everyone good, enjoying it, happy with I'm very happy with our season of Doctor Who. That didn't happen, but I wanted to happen. And now we choose the game, the individual scenes before. I'm not sure. Everyone chooses 2 games, so why don't, since I chose, I was involved in all the recruitment scenes, why don't we have Sabine, why don't you choose one of the scenes? You can see a sort of summary of them all on page 7, and it's hyperlinked to go to the specific pages, or you can just scroll through and they start from page 20 onwards.
Okay, so do we first decide what our mission that you brought us back in for is, or do we just...
Well, this is the thing. This is in the rules. That's not there. I wasn't sure whether to do that or not. So perhaps, as you are having the same questions I had when I played this the first time, why don't we decide? Shall we have... What mission... Should we decide the mission, I think, up front kind of thing, so we have the details of some idea of who the enemy is and what we're attempting to do?
I'd like to keep it vague, because last time we played it, I think we had a whole bunch of turns and twists. So if we get too specific, we have to stick with that sort of.
Yeah. Okay, so
I mean, the Doctor,
a general threat.
Doctor Who, he doesn't really know what's going on until he gets to the season finale. Anyway,
True.
That's true. Okay. Cool. So I think
So maybe though, should we say the
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Sabine.
No, I just said I would then use, just like old times, a battle to prove ourselves. It's okay. Just to see
Nice.
what will happen.
Yes.
Because I just want to see what happens here. Will the past help us or hold us back? Setup. Choose one of the other players to be your partner in this battle against the enemy. Decide together how the two of you ended up in this predicament. Other players can join freely if it makes sense for their characters to also be present in the battle. Okay, so I would, at this point, I would like to have Marcus at my side in this battle, because I think I've known him for a while, or I've knew him for a while at least, and he was always a good person to have in a fight. Yeah, so okay. But I think we should at least flesh out a bit what the fight is about, right? There doesn't decide together how the two of you ended up in this predicament. Yeah, so we have to define the predicament before we define how we ended up in it.
Yeah, and I think in terms of Doctor Who, it doesn't necessarily have to be like a fight where you're trying to beat someone so much as like accomplish a goal or an object, you know? Like, there's very little kind of like the Buffy fight scenes in Doctor Who, right?
Yeah, that's true. It's mostly not shooting at stuff or things. So what do you think, Rob? What is our predicament here? Or fight or complication or conflict?
Well, I have no specific idea, but it's the broader scheme of what we sort of know that something should be happening in the near future, but the way it's turning, somebody's interfering with the timeline, and we have to righten it, because that's what the Doctor told us to do.
Okay, so we have to correct the timeline so it won't go totally haywire. Cool. And that is on us because we both look mostly human and can be most inconspicuous, which is weird because I see this somewhere in the 1950s where we're both not really at home in, just we're both Earth citizens, like you're from somewhere in the future, I'm from somewhere in the past, and we have to kind of navigate these, and we have to, I don't know, we have to get into some official court archive or something like that. Try to find some stuff that, so we can blow this the whole thing open. Okay, so yeah, other players can join freely if it makes sense for their character to also be present in this battle. Anyone want to join us?
I think the Doctor can be there. I was wondering, I think, would Sky like to be except this is going to turn into a conflict of some kind, right?
Yeah.
And the catkin assassin sort of type.
Yeah, Sky would probably get involved in that if there was actual fighting going on.
Yeah. In 1950s, so a little bit. 1950s America, UK, Germany.
I think it's in England. We don't have that much budget. We don't have that much budget, right?
Cool. So, the producers are very happy with this decision to film it. It's being filmed around Manchester and Birmingham as we speak.
Yes. Exactly. I have no idea what that looks like, but it's fine. Okay. So the other players conduct the fight. Then take turns leading the crew through a series of 4 turns. On your turn, choose one. Okay, so I imagine that means that I will now choose one, tell a crew member to choose a challenge, tell a crew member to choose a vulnerability. Sorry. Okay, so each of us chooses one of these, right? Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's okay. So I will now tell Mario to choose a challenge, please.
Okay. So I draw the card first.
Shouldn't we choose a challenge first and then draw a card?
Yes, it's so it is. Yeah, you choose a challenge from the list of challenges on the right.
Mm-hmm. Well, I most certainly, since we haven't seen each other for quite a long time, I would. One of us wants to show off and prove we have outgrown the other. It'll be too easy for the enemy to take advantage of our pride. And maybe that's myself. I've been fighting alone. I've been living by the doctor's teaching, abandon everyone that might get in trouble due to my actions. So I've been fighting alone. And since I'm from the future, maybe I've also a longer lifespan. Maybe I'm already 80 years old, looking like maybe in my 30s. And I've spent so many years fighting, and I want to make that count here and now. But yeah, we're here as a team, so that doesn't work.
Have you drawn your card?
It's black. One of us reacts too late. The enemy gets a good hit in.
Okay.
So, do you think maybe that this is records and stuff, right? The silence have been around throughout human history since around this time. Perhaps the silence are actually the bad guys in this particular, because we can have even different enemies, can't we? Like as we flip through different times and spaces. So yeah, the silence, and they blend right in this office, sort of everyone wearing suits and cool. So how do you think it what is I had this image popped into my head of you trying to hack like a 1950s style phone, you know, because you're from the cyberpunk future.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, where's the touch screen on this thing? As you touch the rotary and stuff like that.
And Rosie can't help you. She doesn't even really know how these kinds of. But I guess that's when somebody comes by and figures out that you are whatever you are doing there is not what you should be doing, and you will get in trouble, maybe being chased off or taken away for questioning or disturbing the peace, which is not nice.
Nice.
Okay.
So yeah. I guess you then choose to ask somebody else a question.
Yeah. Do I then take turns leading the crew through a series of 4 turns, right? On your turn, choose one. I'm only leading the other 3 through, or do I get to choose one for them myself?
I'm not entirely sure. I was leaning towards you just tell everybody else rather than for yourself.
Okay.
But then, yeah. But you know what? I think it's fun for you to. So I think when it comes around to you, Mario, your partner in this scene will choose one for you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Cool. But next thing I want you, for the doctor to choose a vulnerability, please.
The enemy gives it their all and unleashes their secret weapon. And I think that you know, as you're being chased around, you come out through into the car park. Oh, go for it, Mario.
I just checked, and in 1952, the UK did the first atomic bomb tests on Montbello Islands, Australia.
Oh.
So if we go the heavy weapon way, maybe that's the scenery for it.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Suddenly we teleported actually into a fake courthouse that's been set up for this atomic bomb testing site. Nice. Cool. Let's see. Ooh, a black. So, that is a.
I don't think with the vulnerabilities you don't have to choose.
No, sorry, that is my fault for not reading properly. I know exactly how to disarm it. What else am I not telling you? obviously the doctor knows exactly how to disarm this primitive device.
Yeah, but what I see here is that you didn't disarm it, even though you knew. Because they
Ooh.
gave it their all and they unleashed the secret weapon. You just didn't disarm it because we don't know.
Well, because it would mess with the timeline.
Yeah, of
You know,
course
it has to go off at this point.
Of course
Like,
it
yeah.
would. Yeah. Sure. Of course it would mess with the timeline. And then I'd say, yeah, why not, Rob? Why don't you choose a challenge, please?
Okay. Was there one that we picked already? I can't remember which one it was.
That was the show off one.
Okay. One of us wants to execute a complicated move that served us well in the past, but it's been a long time since we pulled this off. And I think like it's me and Rosie. There's a maneuver that we, a sort of team move that we used to do all the time, and
yeah, that was a good move. See if it works in 1952.
Okay, so draw a card.
Mm-hmm.
How do I draw a card?
Like that, I think.
It's red.
That's good, right?
Okay, so we both give him a real show, and one of us takes a token.
I think it's the first one though. We executed perfectly, just like before. One of us takes a token, right?
Oh yeah. We execute it perfectly, just like before.
Seems like the old confused lady looking for her kitty still works in 1952.
Okay.
If that's okay with you. And who takes the token?
You choose between you.
Yeah. Damn. It's great you say it.
I have also realized that I have misread how you do this round. I think we should have all been taking it in turns, choosing somebody else to do a challenge or a vulnerability rather than placing it all on you, Sabine.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But shall we just finish off the way we did it and say we did it wrong? Oops. Sorry.
I think, yeah. Rob, you take the token. You had to play the kitty. I just had to play the confused lady.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so I think then Mario would have to choose one of these things for me, right?
Are we at the vulnerabilities or?
No,
you
have
can
to
choose.
Yeah, hey, that's what you can choose now.
Okay.
You're asking Sabine, does she want which one to choose? So does Sabine want to choose a challenge or a vulnerability?
Okay.
No, I mean like Mario. Sorry, Mario is asking.
Okay.
Which he chooses which one you have to answer, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
So I can. Sorry, I'm a bit lost here. I can choose.
You're doing the bit that's you're telling a crew member to choose a challenge, or you're telling a crew member to choose a vulnerability.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm most interested in a vulnerability right now.
Okay.
So if you would choose one of them.
Okay. Hmm. I think I want the last one. The enemy announces an offer one of us can't refuse, and I choose. So I'll flesh out what that is, right? And then I say what I choose. So the enemy announces an offer. I think the enemy announces the offer of a ceasefire, and that would happen at a point where we would really need a ceasefire with the whole thing, and that's not an offer of a ceasefire for this instance, but for the whole timeline, right? And while everybody's debating, I think Rosie will take them out quietly, but you suspect I wanted to accept. I think Rosie is going on and just does whatever the correction of the timeline needs. I think it's mainly it's getting papers to some reporters. Of course, I wanted to accept, but would have been nice to have some peace from these guys. But you don't negotiate with alien overlord wannabes. You don't do that. That's not right. Sure, I wanted to have some peace, but all peace I know is a piece of the grave. So I don't go in for that. Peace is bad.
I think there's a heated debate in the TARDIS at some point, and as we look, it's like the timeline rehealing itself, and it's like, well, maybe you made the right choice, but we'll never know, kind of stuff.
Oh.
Good.
But most certainly, Marcus would be like, "Oh, Rosie, that was an impressive move. Didn't you still got it in yourself to take out a whole bunch of them. I'm sort of really impressed by this.
Well, learn things fighting in the Highlands.
And now we compare the number of tokens earned during this game. The player with the most tokens chooses an ending. I got 1 token. Did anyone get more than 1 token? Sky got more than 1 token?
No, I only got 1.
Yeah, okay. And Sabine, you got 1 as well?
I got 1.
Well, it looks like we all got 1.
I don't think I have. I think.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're in a tie situation. Yeah. I tell you what, let's spin this little spinner, and we will see. I will be 5 to 6, Sabine will be 4 to 3, and Rob will be 1 to 2. Is Sabine, as we will say, has the player with the most token who chooses an ending for this scene.
Okay. I like. I should read all of them. Ooh, I like the last one even better. We could have won, but we let the enemy think otherwise and learn something important to help our mission.
Nice.
Yeah, I think.
Should we do the loyalty draw? Because if we do the loyalty draw, we might draw a royal and introduce a complication. Yeah. So that might help flavor that.
Yeah.
So I do the loyalty draw, and I get a 2, 1 token. So there are no complications other than whatever you feel like introducing. It doesn't have to be problematic.
Okay. Player invited to play decides how to split the tokens received. So, Mario, you get to decide how the tokens will be split.
Yeah, the 1 token.
The 1 token. Who takes that?
I think I would like to give that token to Sky because she did a lot of work without a lot of reward yet. So maybe she just knows her worth in this.
So I think maybe what we learned in this mission was something of a weakness that the silence have, some kind of blind spot.
But we learn. I think that we let the enemy think otherwise by allowing that bomb to go off. You know, like, and it disrupts everything.
Yeah.
It feels as though, like, they think the TARDIS has been destroyed, kind of thing.
Oh yeah, right.
And the thing that we learn is, what did you say? It was a way of getting around the silence, basically. Like,
yeah, maybe they're not quite as immune to radioactive to radiation as they think they are. Maybe it leaves a trace on them.
We isolate the radiation from the blast, like we use our sensors on there, and it contaminates the silence. And
exactly.
You know, like radiation tracing. We have a whole technobabble speech about like different types of ionizing radiation and so forth. Like,
yeah, something like that.
Cool. Okay. And then Mario, you get to choose a scene.
Yeah, if that's cool with everyone, I would go with the who do you think you are? And the yes, I said what I said kind of set up.
So who do you think you are? Yes. Okay.
And
so
I want
to.
I want to suggest that maybe we have one of the scenes where I confront the Doctor with leaving me to myself, even though he must have known that I would have needed more guidance at that point.
Okay. Sure. So, confrontation. Maybe not on the TARDIS, maybe like some sort of stopover point kind of thing, like maybe like in a sort of like space bar or something. Oh, go on, yeah.
Yeah, what about, you remember that one cafe they had the setup in because the TARDIS was placed in the kitchen of that cafe in the desert when the two doctors from the different timelines met, and then the Doctor needed to be killed by
I don't remember. That rings so many bells of like so many different.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, it does sound like a Doctor Who episode for sure. But I like the idea of a desert cafe where the TARDIS pops in through the kitchen. Nice. Yeah, you know, I think after that it's like, right. At some point it's like, God, I can't do anything without my coffee. Okay, I know a great place to get a coffee. Come on, like TARDIS comes into the cafe, kind of thing. Sweet.
Yeah.
So, but we got fed up with each other. How did the confrontation start? Yeah, I think as I'm teaching you about coffee and things, and you know, like, oh, this is the best place. You know, I can show you all the best places, Marcus. Finest beans, the finest coffees. You know, you should really taste them down in Morocco. The orange juice, like, mwah. And in America, like this place in America, like the peanut butter. Oh my God.
Maybe we should just check out if somebody is joining us.
I'm just listening.
Okay.
I like that, to see where it's going. Maybe.
I think if the subject of being left behind would come up, it would probably get Sky involved.
Into a big three-way squabble. Nice.
Yeah, I left you behind, so I'm fine with that.
So I found a picture.
Is this the place?
This is the place.
Nice. Perfect.
So
yes, that's perfect. It's a diner. Yes, that's even better.
Yeah, true. So
especially
that's
after, and it's a 1950s style diner. So
yeah.
so basically, like we go from that whole adventure, and it's like, oh, while we're in this time, like we should go here, kind of thing. Yeah. Sweet, cool. I think this is just a verbal like blowout, right? Like there's no violence or anything involved in this.
No, I think just at some point, I just slam my hand on the desk and say,
Nice.
"Yeah."
So that's I guess.
Talking about.
Well, I think we can move straight on to leading questions now.
Oh yeah. So who does decide that?
So you do the leading questions, and I answer.
Okay.
The one who has more anger in their heart begins. I think that's definitely Marcus. Yeah. Doctor's not that angry, other than a couple of episodes of Eccleston. So we ask a minimum of 3 questions overall, and then we can choose one of the closing questions instead.
Okay. So I have an idea in mind, and I just need to read all of them to see which one suits best.
No worries.
Oh, maybe it's I pointedly ask about your true intentions. Do you convince me with a lie or confuse me with the truth? And at some point you're just going on about that's the best coffee and you've been to different planets and you drank all these different coffees. You basically had tried every sort of planet and this is the one that's the perfect blend. And at some point, I just slam my hand on the desk and I'm saying like, okay, so coffee is it? But what about you leaving me behind? You knew I could have been killed. I betrayed the Silence, the most powerful organization in this time and place.
Marcus, you shouldn't be so hard on yourself. I've always had faith in you. And look, leader of the resistance. Come a long way since being the running boy. Listen, it was either I understand, okay, but like you die, you could have died there, of course, but I could die drinking on this cup of coffee if I don't stir it properly. But
I don't think you could really die from drinking a cup of coffee, my lad.
I've seen it happen. Java 5, the espresso massacre.
Yeah, but
you didn't want to be there.
You just regurgitate or whatever you do.
Oh, I did certainly regurgitate on Java 5, yes.
You brought this all into place. You came up to me. You showed me what the Silence was doing, and then you left without any further guidance, without any bigger picture. I've been there and just fighting, and the fight against the Silence.
Marcus, you have to,
survival.
The bigger picture is whatever you draw, Marcus, and. I knew that you would be
the TARDIS.
Now
I'm the time traveler. So yes. Now I'm deciding the big moves. No, that's up on you. You have all the tools. You have so many. You have millions of people that you know throughout the galaxy.
I came to you, Marcus, because I knew that you were the only one I could the person I needed right now.
To drink a cup of coffee.
Is that confusing you enough with the truth?
That's really confusing. Because right now I don't know if you're talking back then, if you're talking right now, if you're talking anything in between.
Welcome to the Doctor's world. Yeah. But I've got to get ratty with you as well. So, I pointedly ask you about your true intentions. Do you come? No, you've already asked me that one. Sorry. I expose a dark secret of yours and threaten to tell the world. What do I reveal? And I think it's not really, like a dark secret and like a threat so much as kind of like a completely like clueless sort of social faux pas kind of, just blurting out something that's quite personal for Marcus, but I think that you revealed it. What would you think it could be? Maybe. Do you have any ideas?
Yeah, I had this idea from the get-go, and I thought I might have been an engineer, and the Silence has been working on a time machine in the 32nd century to finally cope with the Doctor and to finally be able to meet him at a place he's not as comfortable because he cannot choose that place. And I've been one of the engineers on the time machine. And when I confronted you with the time traveling thing, then maybe you just say, well, you almost got your TARDIS yourself. You've been engineering one. And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah. You can, and you know perfectly well how to build your own time machine. That's all you wanted.
Well, I wanted that back then because that was the plan of the Silence. That was not exactly my personal plan. And I've been just looking around if somebody overheard the conversation, and I'm like, did Rosie see it? Did Sky see it?
Yeah, because you could have come back and fought with Rosie rather than fighting in the future. Well, yeah. Then one more leading question, and then we do closing questions. Some of these questions would not work for Doctor Who at all. I give in to my passion and throw you against something to the wall. Like that is a...
I think you can paraphrase them. Like,
yeah,
with the physical balance. I remember that being a part of the rules for the honor one. Like, if a question as stated doesn't fit what you're looking for, you can like change the wording.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So, whose call is it right now?
It is your call.
With another leading question. Oh, it's because the total of 3, right? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then you can ask. I can ask the closing one.
Well, there's been some kissing in Doctor Who, so it wouldn't be impossible, but...
No, it wouldn't be.
No.
Yeah, I suppose there's no reason that Marcus couldn't be the Rose Tyler of this Doctor's season. You know?
Yeah.
Sure, go for it if you want, man.
Yeah. I think we just have to rephrase it a bit and well, I'm so angry that you revealed that I've been an engineer on the time machine. So I'm just smashing like there's been the both cups of coffee, and I just throw them on the floor and they shatter. But I'm just standing real close, and there's tension. We just don't know what kind of tension yet. So we're really face to face.
Nice.
So do you push me back, or do you pull me in for a kiss?
I think he pushes you back, you know. Like, I'm sorry that you were left behind, Marcus. I'm sorry that you feel you were left behind. I didn't like leaving you behind either.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And it's always you, just gathering people and then just throwing them away like paper towels. You're not really sticking with it, right?
Yes.
And I'm visibly hurt.
Ooh, and I say I'm going to do the closing question of I confess that my feelings for you distracted me from the truth. How? And I choose. And I think it's escalate. I think that the doctor's revealing that however he left Marcus was like certain death, and it was only the doctor would be able to survive it, but he would have to regenerate and then go through that whole amnesia process and things like that. And it's actually been a long time for him. And it's the whole kind of like, I've had to live a whole other life before being able to find my way back to you, kind of thing. So I'll draw a card. I got red. I reveal something vulnerable to you. Yeah, I mean, I guess the obvious thing to me would be that, that I still care, kind of stuff, even if I feel like a different person. But if he's got something else you might suggest.
So it is that I can see that you care, but you just won't stand up to it, or maybe because then there's some sort of confusion. You push me back. I see you still care. So there's something holding you back, something not letting you take that one step that would help me to heal. Okay. Yeah, I think we can leave it at that.
Yeah. And so, well, it says the first player to leave the game. I don't know if that's me, but I'd rather. Do you want to draw a card, Maria? I think
that's fine with me, because the moment I see that you care, but you don't act according to it, I'm just, okay, whatever. That's you and your weird reason. Go have fun with the coffee. And then I just run out the door.
Nice.
So I go on the right one. And it's a 3. So it's
cool.
one token.
One token.
And I will claim that myself.
Yeah, sounds good.
But I think technically that Will would have to choose.
I was going to
the
give
last
it. Yeah.
player left behind decides how to split the tokens. So.
Oh.
Yeah, but I was going to give it to you anyways, Mario.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
And then it is Skype's turn to choose a scene. How are you guys doing for breaks? Should we do one more scene and then just see how far we go? Yeah, one more scene.
I think I'll go with only one shot to make it right. Training scene with with Rosie.
Cool, but I think it says
everyone playing. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Everyone decides how they're training and what circumstances lead to the training.
Training. I don't have any ideas off the top of my head for training.
I was thinking like maybe it's like one of those scenes in the TARDIS where the Doctor is like trying to fix the ship or something, and we're just like passing the time.
Ooh, I think Yeah, that could be good. Like definitely one of the TARDIS scenes. How about maybe a TARDIS scene where it's one of those like the TARDIS is in trouble kind of stuff, and like we're all working on different parts of the panel and stuff, and we can be like, snapping orders at each other or fiddling with things. I think looking at the questions that might work. I think.
Yeah.
If everyone's up for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
So maybe the first montage is we see just somewhere in space, and then all of a sudden the TARDIS comes flying in and just spinning real crazy, and then inside there's a lot of sparks coming off the walls, and we all holding on to something so that we don't get thrown around. And then there's like, oh, we have to do this, but no, wait, actually it's first we have to do that, and then it's this whole confusion inside the TARDIS, and everything's flying around.
Yeah, we're in the full-on Star Trek shaky cam scene.
Yeah, and it says the one of us who has the most to prove to the crew goes first, and I would say that is the Doctor. He has the most to prove to the crew.
Oh, okay, sure.
Sorry.
No, that makes sense entirely. I think as a new regeneration of the Doctor, that's certainly Was it a couple of Doctors have regenerated mid-companion, haven't they? So yeah.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to try something experimental and dangerous. Do you talk me out of it? Do you attempt to push me even further? Why? And I think I'll direct that to Rosie.
Okay, which one was that?
I'm tempted to try something experimental and dangerous. Do you talk me out of it, or do you tempt me to push even further? Why? And I'm like, fiddling with switches and throwing levers and all kinds of things, and just like, if we put it into, super maximum overdrive reverse, we can fire through the tachyons and overdrive it through the blah blah blah, reverse this vortex, and the whole thing's like starting to crack and shake as I do it.
Yeah, I love it when you talk about the black hole stuff. Didn't you say last time this might end the universe as we know it?
Yes, but only as we know it. And the universe as we know it might be the universe where we end up dead. And so that will end the universe effectively anyways, in any case.
Whatever. I say, if you can do it, sure, go ahead.
Cool. Yes, I push. I go, well, I think maybe even Rosie says like, oh, if you and then just leans over and like pulls the last lever kind of thing, as the Doctor's hand like hesitates on it, just.
That's only them saying, Doctor, you always hesitate at the worst possible moment. You know that? Sometimes you just have to go all in instead of taking a step back. Listen,
is this the Green Cross code? I have to look left and look right before I do these things, okay? Cool. And then, should we do it in character keeper order from me, I guess?
You absolutely realize that Rosie would not understand that.
Yes.
Look left and look right, because
yes.
What?
Yeah.
You hear cows when they're coming. Yeah. Okay, sorry.
No worries.
Okay. Then it's my turn, I guess. What do I do? Ooh. Neat. I think, and I want this to be with Sky. As we repair this, we end up in a compromising positions. Our body's too close and our heart's even closer. Do you give in or do you pull away? Why? So I assume this is somewhere in some kind of tunnel where we're both in and trying to fix things, and then you have to crawl over me, and then we get kind of stuck.
Yeah, and I think Sky pulls away because she had a lot more. She was more proud of herself. Like she doesn't feel like she's worthy anymore.
Oh. Yeah, you can see Rosie look after you like, oh, we need to do something about you there. And then it's, I think, Marcus.
Yeah, and I'd also like to go with Sky. And and then we, like, Sky and I both got a task from the doctor, and we have to run 4 corridors left, 3 staircases up, 1 staircase down, and then maybe 3 corridors to the left. And while we're running like crazy through some crazy floors on the TARDIS, I'm about to slip badly and will embarrass myself in front of the crew because the doctor is following us on the screen, and Rosie's standing next to him, and we know they are seeing us and they want to give us further instructions once we're there. Do you let me do it, or do you embarrass yourself first to distract everyone, and why?
I think I let you do it because like why? Because
It's funny.
yeah, because it's funny. Pretty much, yeah.
These dumb humans can't even walk. Okay. Cool. Yeah.
I think up in the control room on the over the speakers, you get the, you know, that patronizing clap that people do in pubs when someone drops a glass or something. Like, we're all just take a moment in this crisis, just be like, "Hey!" And then it is Sky's turn for a challenge.
So something about this feels too much like old times. Do you start happily talking about the past with me, or do you open up old wounds? And why? And I think I'll direct that at the doctor.
Okay. Yeah, I think we do happily start talking about the past, and I think it's about you know, the time we went into full-on Vortex meltdown above the skies of Skaro, or you know, we had to like do a whatever, like we had to jump back in time to steal the engine from back when it worked, and put it back in the future, and then remember to replace it before we crashed and did all timey-wimey stuff. And, you know, a real, like, perhaps when we were fighting the Master, even in our original thing, you know, like another huge TARDIS moment. So yeah, I think that's, you know, the doctor's like, oh, you remember what to do? Yes, just like above Skaro.
Right. And I think like there's basically does some parkour to get to like a control switch.
Yeah.
And it's all sort of Escher painting-esque, like running up walls and stuff.
Yeah, this TARDIS has Escher painting style architecture inside, for sure. Cool. And then I guess it's back round to me. And I ask you to spar, which in this case is going to be I ask you to help me fix something, and I go harder than intended in that like I'm demanding too much of you, kind of like to work with this system, and I think I'm going to direct that to Rosie.
Cool. So, do I keep up with you and disarm you, humiliate you, or do you take the worst? Do I take the worst of it, leaving you guilty? I think it's the last one. I will try and fail to keep up with you because, come on, I'm not that young anymore, and but I'm trying. That Rosie's a fighter. She's just like, and then and you can see at one part, you can see her holding onto some lever, and the lever wants to go up, and she doesn't want it to, but she gets pulled up, and then she hangs there slightly, embarrassed.
Yeah, it was definitely a dramatic scene of like steam coming out of whatever you were pulling the lever down on, and everything shaking, and then like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. Why though?
Why? Yes. So why do you? I don't really understand what the why is asking there, though.
Oh, I think I have to answer that. Yeah, I'm keeping up with you because I'm trying to keep up with you because that's what I've always done. I've always tried to keep up with everyone.
You're a fighter, yeah.
Yeah, always been.
And then it is your go to choose one.
All right. Let's see.
We all do 2 turns, and then we end.
I want one with, I think, Marcus in this case. And I say I modify my weapons. Well, it's apparently not my weapons, but my repair-y stuff. And you have a good idea of how I can push my equipment. Do you patiently teach me how to, or take over brusquely? Why? You can see me fiddling around with this, I don't know, lots of cables, and I'm not a tech person, apparently.
Your weapon could be the tool that you're using. Because I love the idea of Rosie having a like Cyberman augmented sword, like a big claymore or something, and that could be, so you could be modifying, like using a modified claymore to like break through some broken corridor.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm using my modified claymore to break some, but I need to modify it further because right now it's only meant to give up a little electric shock or something that would disturb Cyberman's circuits. But this doesn't work here, and I have to find out the frequency.
Okay, and that's, to be fair, that's not too hard if you're from the future, and if you're used to all kinds of technology. So I'll be real patient and teach you, but that's only because I feel left behind, and I feel Rosie has the most intimate connection to with the doctor yet. So I'm asking you, like, I'm just saying, like, you have to do this and that, and then like I'm just casually asking, and what did you do back then when you were with the doctor? And so I'm just trying to figure out where my place is within the group, and especially towards the doctor, if he's choosing somebody over me. So I'm sort of jealous, and I'm trying to satisfy my needs for knowledge.
I'll tell you, he usually just took the thing and fixed it himself. I hated that. Sometimes then I pushed him to tell me how to do it, and sometimes then he did, but he needs pushing. That man needs pushing if you want him to not run roughshod right over you.
Unfortunately, that's a skill I'm lacking. I need to learn that because
that's a skill.
Not really listening.
He's never listened to me either, really. So And then I push
Well,
the claymore. What if I claymore into the mess and there's a lot of sparks and I see? But this, wow, thank you. That was very kind of you.
no, you're welcome. We have an enemy to fight, so it's the least I can do.
Multiple enemies.
And then I think it's Mario to choose.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just not sure about the constellation, but I think I'd like to take the as we fight, I accidentally reveal that I know more about the enemy than I should. Do you confront me and demand answers, or pretend nothing happened, and why? Is there anyone that sees themselves, who sees himself in such a scene with me? Because frankly, everybody could be in there. Because maybe we.
Do you want to go for it, Rob?
I just pick somebody. I think we're all equally capable for that scene.
Yeah, I'm happy to go with Sky, and maybe we just modified that we're not really fighting. We're just doing some repair stuff, and then I'm just like dropping some small detail that makes you wonder how I possibly could know that.
Where's that? Yeah, I think Sky would confront you and demand answers. So she's like, "Yeah, well, that sounds a lot more up to date than like." That sounds like more up to date than your time. Sort of knowledge.
Maybe he says something that reminds you of the Masters. You know, like he has a piece of information that only the Master would know, kind of stuff.
Oh, and I would be like, yeah, that's something I just overheard the doctor saying earlier. That's not actually my information. But it's obvious that I'm lying about it. Because frankly, I still feel guilty. This is something I might have gotten from the time when I was still with the silence. So I'm trying to avoid an actual answer. And I'm just saying, yeah, well, go ask the doctor. You know how it is, how he is. He's always like super secretive, and then all of a sudden he comes out with tons of information, and you hardly can keep up with it. And so, yeah, I'm sorry. I don't really know anything about it. It's just something I overheard.
I give you like the squinty-eyed, like stare, and like, okay.
Yeah, don't give me that look. I'm sure you know things I don't. So we're even there, I guess.
Well, I know things because I used to work for the and the TARDIS like edits out what I was saying because I refused to use what the word that he uses to refer to himself.
Yeah, just switches back into cat for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meow.
So we've all had.
I think I have one more.
More. Yes.
So I'm going to use I cranked the simulation routine way past recommended level of safety, and charge right in. Do you force the simulation to stop drawing my anger, or do you go in with me and save me from myself? Why? Either the Doctor or Sky, I'm thinking. And what the way I'm framing this, rephrasing it, is to there's a switch that we need to pull to end the situation, the cataclysm that's about to occur because the TARDIS is going awry. But I have to go through some kind of spatial anomaly to do it and put myself in danger.
Yeah. I'm that feels like a Doctor type situation, doesn't it? With the whole, staring up at the void, the rift kind of thing forming. Oh, it's not good when it does that. It's not good at all when it does that. And then you leap across it to go. And I think I go in with you and save you from yourself. I think it's that you get there, you do the you jump through the rift and you make it, you couple it, but then the rift opens up to swallow you whole as it the TARDIS things, and then another rift opens up behind you and a hand reaches through and pulls you back out through the second, then he comes back to the Doctor back at the TARDIS controls and he shakes his hand and he's like, stings when you do that, right? And the reason the reason why is because he's the Doctor.
All right, and I think we've all had 2 turns now.
Yes, so I guess I choose an ending.
Let's come back around to you for your 3rd turn.
Choose an end to the training montage. So, yeah. I think that the only Doctor Who end in there is we train well, almost too well. At least one of us will learn to forgive someone on something they never thought they would. So
could be anyone really, right?
Yeah.
I think everyone's got the most grievances with the Doctor, to be honest.
Yeah, we don't have much grievances against each other, right?
No, you could make them up in the moment.
Have come to front.
Yeah, I tried to go that way, but yeah, maybe I got off well. But I personally would see more of Sky, so I'm voting for Sky having that scene.
To learn to forgive. How do you feel about that, Sky? Or Sabine, does Rosie have a thing that they've learned to forgive someone or something they never thought they would before?
I don't know. I don't feel so sure. I mean, she was angry at the Doctor, but I don't think she's right forgiving him. She's not there. Not right now. No. Don't know. What about the others?
Well, I would say that I think actually the one that occurs to me as the most likely choice if no one really wants to have it for their character is I would suggest it for Marcus and the Doctor.
Already? I've seen that road going on for a while, but sure.
It's learning to forgive eventually. Not that it's necessarily gone forever, but you know what I mean. It's It's gone from hostility to sympathy in some way, kind of thing. It can still be the whole like, why can't we be together? Or
is there anything that the Doctor might want to forgive or
or forget? Yeah, I think the problem is that because we set him up as the regeneration of the Doctor, so I'm finding it hard to sort of imagine like the thing, you know what I mean, like the hanging over kind of enough to then be a complication for. And opportunities to resolve our deep grievances will not come up all that often. Cool. So we are at 22. We have done, I think, a scene for everyone, right? Oh, no, Sky got to choose one. No, you just did, didn't you? You chose that one.
Yeah.
Which was only one shot to make it
we
right.
need to draw cards. Right?
Oh yes, sorry, yes, of course. All players draw a card. So I will clear these cards off the table. Just draw one out onto the table, and you can take it. Then we can just all flip it over.
We got red.
We got black.
6.
It's
about the number.
Number,
right?
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we both take 2 tokens, and
but everyone has to draw, right?
Yes. Has everyone drawn?
No, I have not. I have now. I've got a red 7.
We all got the same.
Okay.
So we all got 2 tokens.
Okay. I mean, we could just all keep our tokens.
Yes.
Well, I would like to share one of my tokens with Sky because she was willing to forgive me my lame-ass excuse.
Oh.
Marcus, you are running on. Getting those tokens, and you're gonna die.
Well, I was the one with the most tokens last time, if I remember correctly.
I'll give one of mine to Rosie.
Cool. Oh well, I'll give one of mine to Marcus because he helped. He was so patient. It was nice. It was nice having a nice scene with somebody.
I'm just going to keep mine.
Yeah. Of course you do.
Yes.
You're the worst doctor ever. No, you're not. You're not. I'm lying.
I can beat Colin Baker. Sure. Yeah.
You could be the first guy who was absolutely terrible, as I remember.
Oh yeah. Like guy also tried to bring a caveman to death the first arc, I believe.
Nice. So I think everyone 2 rounds. Everyone chooses 2 games. So I guess I need to choose a round as well. Last time we played, we only did 1 round. Like we didn't do full on 2 things. We are 15 minutes away. Should we stop now? And we can decide next time how we'll do another. I'll choose a scene, and then we'll decide if we want to do 2 or if we just want to go straight into Once More Into the Void. Because we actually did okay last time, but it was we did lose the captain. Yeah, which is fine with Doctor Who because it just regenerates.
Regurgitates.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
I think it would be a good idea to start the next round, the next session, and then we have time for everything, and then we can go once more into the Vortex and hit everyone who's evil.
Cool. So should we save my choice for next session then? And then yeah, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe we spend 5 more minutes to just gather some ideas because this is so broad. This is much a broader story that we had last time.
Yeah, we don't have really any idea where it's going, and I feel some direction. Why were we gathered? That might be that might give us more to work with.
Yeah, some sort of, ticking clock or threat or whatever that we need to do. Okay, we'll decide that we'll do that at the start of next session, and then I'll choose the scene, and then we'll get into it. We can all think. I am thinking. I mean, while we're talking about it, I am thinking like, we choose like. It can always be revealed to be a bad guy kind of thing. If we choose like it's a rift, it's the end of time kind of thing. It's a rift opening up in space, or it's like, I
still want to know what these echoes were about, why they were looking for.
Yes, of course. Yeah. The echoes.
It might be an interesting direction to take these things, because we know all the old enemies. We know the Cybermen, we know the Silence, we know the Master, but maybe go into a new direction, see what's there.
Oh, introduce our own Doctor Who villain.
Why not?
Yeah, cool. I kind of like that idea. I would love to think about what the echoes are.
Maybe it's not even an enemy. Maybe it's just something that is in danger and needs to be saved.
Yeah, it's some sort of phenomenon. Like it's
it's a phenomenon. That's a good one. I like
that.
We have these super crazy stories about that one girl that was as powerful as the Doctor at some point and traveled till the end of time and space, and she was always following the Doctor. I forgot her name, but she was also playing in Game of Thrones. I believe, and she's that girl, and she's super powerful, and she's the one that's causing the death with that Raven.
Or Clara?
No. She played Arya in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, right.
Right. She was in the last. I haven't seen that, but I've read about that.
That was a good
Maisie
episode.
Williams.
Yeah,
Maisie Williams was in one of these.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Because that is something we truly have to prepare. If it's somebody that is not like a plain villain, somebody that got reasonable motives, but it's maybe at some point their path had gone wrong or led to a dark path or something like that.
Okay, possibly sympathetic. Then we'll put that in as a suggestion.
If that's cool with everyone, that's just an idea of
mine,
so.
I definitely think there needs to be somebody in danger. We need to be rescuing somebody. Like there's always got to be the civilians, right, to rescue kind of thing. Like the Doctor is always averting some sort of disaster or whatever. I imagine with the echoes, like some sort of like time echoes and things. Maybe like the things you can hear are like the voices of people calling out "Doctor," and it's maybe even the voices of the companions, like across time.
Ooh.
Wow!
Wow! Yeah, that's neat. That maybe some lost companion that's calling out for the Doctor to help, and he's quite forgotten them because, he left them where they were safe. Left them where there was their own problem solved.
Is this maybe the companion that none of us can remember because they were erased from time?
Wow!
And this episode of this season of Doctor Who, right? All the audience is already well aware of this companion, but everybody else is just pretending as if they don't know him. Like, what the hell?
I love this.
Awesome.
I love this one. Yeah, and that gives us a lot of blame throwing, because whose fault was it that they got left behind? Was it really the Doctor's, or was it one of ours?
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So we've got that, and I think we can flesh out like the dangers that we face. So the one our enemy is really more this situation that we are trying to unravel, this mystery, and we will ultimately try and bring back our companion, even though we don't know that's what we're doing at this point.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
So
if they got erased and they're trying to come back, maybe they're trying to come back has unleashed something else that's.
Yes,
Yeah.
cool. Well, that's it. Yeah.
You
So
know,
whenever
you know, like those Reaper things from like the first series,
Yeah, I
first
know what you
season,
mean,
which never show up again.
yeah, exactly. There's another enemy that will never show up again, but was very dramatic. This one. Yeah. Yeah, but I think maybe that's not a certain one, but we could flesh that out when we do any scenes that have the enemy in. But rather than choose the silence or choose whatever, we can just choose these creatures that we can define at the point. But nice.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
May have unleashed.
Has someone taken a note of that?
Yes, it's in the end of the Google Doc.
Always takes lots of notes of his sessions, which I'm very
Perfect.
jealous of that you are able to do that. I used to be able to do it, but no, I can't anymore. I don't know why.
Yeah, same.
It's quite hard to do it when you're running it, but luckily this is GMless, so I just let you guys do it and write down. So I wrote down the echoes are companion voice calling across time, the companion that was lost in time. We don't remember. Our mission / the enemy is to bring back our companion. They're trying to come back, may have unleashed other enemies. Cool.
Yeah.
So can I do a quick I guess roses and thorns, I suppose.
Stars and wishes.
Stars and wishes. That's about. Let's do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
I couldn't remember which one it was at the moment. So I'll do that in to keep order. Sabine, would you like to go first? And you can do both if you like.
Sure. I can go first. Stars for everyone playing their characters, creating these interesting companions, and a special start for our doctor, who is quite like a doctor, actually. It should be. Sometimes you want to kick his ass, and sometimes you just want to hug him. That's nice. And I also love that Marcus was so like, why did you leave me behind? I'm so broken about this, and how dejected Sky was the whole time. I love that. So I'm going on with wishes, or should I stop now? I'm going on. I want to see more of Sky. That's a wish. Yeah. And I wish that I knew how these rules worked better, but well, yeah, they're still a cool game, and I'm finished.
Thank you, and then Mario.
Yeah, I think the point is I'm all in favor of seeing more of Sky, because I think just character wise, it's actually the most interesting. Because there's, like, for example, why is she trying to save humanity, which she's not really part of? She's like, what's the connection there? So that's something that is prone to have a bigger arc going on somewhere in the game, and I'm super curious to see that. So that's basically Star and Wish in the same, because I think it's a super interesting character, and it's something I want to see more of. Also, with the rules, I actually should know the rules because I played it just like 2 or 3 months ago, and I reread most of them. It's just like sometimes I feel reading it 2 times, I'm getting 2 different meanings from it. So for me, sometimes it's how it's written, a bit of a language barrier. So, but I try to prepare better for the next.
I wouldn't worry about it. I think it's one of those, each thing is a different rule, so each scene is a different one. You're not going to memorize all of the different interactions. Anyways, thank you. And Rob.
So stars, just for the concept of this like reskinning once more into the void for Doctor Who, like that having companions brought together by the Doctor for to deal with something is probably a season I would really enjoy. Like I know they've done it in the show before, but like having that a whole season be about that would be great. And stars the Mario and Sabine's like for their characters as well. Like I feel like you guys did a better job of portraying your characters than I did. So I'm forgetting this is a GM-less game and Will is a character as well. Sorry, but yeah, everybody did better putting their characters out there than I did. So that was good. Wishes, like the language because the game is designed more for like a Mass Effect or Picard style setup. The way things are phrased is a bit more geared towards that than say Doctor Who, which is a bit tricky to work around. But I think we managed all right.
Yeah, I really enjoyed reskinning that as a mechanical failure. I thought that went actually pretty well. So yeah, I would just say stars all round, and I kind of agree with more Sky scenes that I want to have some fight scenes. Like I think we've progressed through enough of the Doctor Who plot to have like there are battles where we fight to the victory kind of thing. They're battles that we're running away from things, and there's skirmishes along the way, and kind of like there's no big knockdown fight. But certainly now that we've got a Highlander with an electric claymore and a cyberpunk street samurai, as well as a cat person, cat-kin assassin, warrior monk. There's definitely going to be some scenes of that, along with the Doctor. Like, come on, enough sodding around with your toys. Let's get out of here. Yeah. Cool. Thank you very much, guys. I'm going to end the broadcast. So wave goodbye to the internet.